Alright, let's talk about one of the simplest, weirdest, yet most powerful things you can do for yourself. Giving yourself a high five. Yeah, I know it sounds like something a motivational poster would say next to a picture of a sunset, but hang on. Mel Robbins didn't just pull this idea out of thin air. There's actual brain science behind it. The whole idea is that a high five isn't just a physical gesture. It's a psychological cue that rewires how your brain talks to you. It's like hacking your emotional operating system with one slap of the palm. Now, think about it. When you high-five someone else, it's never a negative thing, right? Nobody high-fives you to say, "You messed up." It's always encouragement, "Good job. You got this. Let's go." It's a universal gesture of celebration. Your brain has been trained, since childhood, to associate high-fives with positive reinforcement, joy, and human connection. Whether you were in kindergarten and nailed your ABCs, or in high school after scoring a point, or even as an adult finishing a tough project, that upward palm smack always came with a rush of dopamine and approval. It's literally your body's way of saying, "Hey, I see you. You did good." So here's where it gets wild. Mel Robbins realized that you can turn that same energy inward. You can high-five yourself, in the mirror in the morning, and your brain doesn't judge you or say, "Wait, are we doing this ironically?" No. Your brain just goes, "Oh, we're celebrating. Cool." It doesn't differentiate between giving a high five to your best friend or to yourself. The neurological response is the same. Dopamine release, emotional uplift, a hit of encouragement. You are, quite literally, tricking your brain into giving you a confidence boost. And let's be honest, most of us are really good at tearing ourselves down. We'll stand in front of a mirror and point out every flaw like it's a full-time job. "Ugh, my hair looks terrible. Why did I say that yesterday? I'm behind in everything." You'd never talk to your best friend that way, yet we do it to ourselves daily. What Mel's saying is, stop being your own bully. Instead, become your own cheerleader. When you high-five yourself, you're not being cheesy. You're reprogramming your brain to stop associating the mirror with criticism and start associating it with encouragement. Here's the science part, and this is where the nerdy magic happens. When you raise your hand for a high five, your brain releases dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter. That's the same chemical that fires up when you eat your favorite food or get a compliment. The act itself, the physical motion, sends a signal through your nervous system saying, "We're celebrating something." Your brain doesn't care if you just won a marathon or if you simply got out of bed today. It celebrates because the gesture means celebration. Over time, this rewires your neural pathways. You start to build an automatic link between seeing yourself and feeling good about yourself. That's neuroplasticity in action, your brain reshaping its response patterns through repetition. Now, let's sprinkle in some humor here because honestly, the first time you high-five yourself in the mirror, you'll probably feel ridiculous. You'll be standing there like, "Okay, this is strange. I'm literally giving myself a high five. What's next? Hugging my reflection." But here's the thing, awkward doesn't mean ineffective. The same part of your brain that feels silly is also the part that's changing. You're interrupting your old pattern, the one where the mirror triggers self-criticism, and replacing it with a microdose of self-approval. It's like telling your brain, "Hey, we're doing things differently now. Get on board." Over time, this small act builds emotional momentum. Each morning when you high-five yourself, you're stacking little wins. You might not notice it right away, but something inside you starts to shift. You start showing up differently. You stand a little taller. You talk to yourself with more kindness. You feel more capable of handling life's chaos because you've built a daily ritual of encouragement. You've trained your brain to see you as someone worth rooting for. And let's face it, that's something we all need a little more of. It's like brushing your emotional teeth. You don't high-five yourself once and suddenly turn into Tony Robbins. It's a practice. Every single morning you remind your brain who's in charge, that you're on your own team. And that consistency compounds. When challenges hit, your default response starts shifting from "I can't handle this" to "I've got this." You build self-trust. You start believing in yourself the same way you'd believe in someone you genuinely admire. And think about how many times we wait for external validation, for someone else to say "good job" or "you're doing great." But life doesn't always hand out applause. Sometimes you've got to be your own hype squad. That's what the high five habit is, self-generated encouragement. You become your own source of motivation instead of waiting for it to come from outside. That's where the true power lies. What's even cooler is how this affects your mood and energy throughout the day. That brief second of positive reinforcement in the morning sets the emotional tone for everything that follows. You approach challenges with a lighter heart, a calmer mind, and more confidence. You stop carrying the invisible weight of self-doubt. Your brain starts saying, "We're doing okay. We're winning. And that subtle mental shift changes everything, from how you talk to people to how you handle setbacks to how you chase your goals. Now, of course, skeptics might roll their eyes at this and say, "Come on, it's just a high five." But here's the truth. Most life-changing habits start small and simple. Brushing your teeth takes 2 minutes a day but saves you from years of pain later. Saying thank you can completely change your relationships. Likewise, a daily high five can rewire your self-talk, boost your mood, and build unshakable self-trust. The simplicity is the power. So yeah, the next time you're dragging yourself out of bed, hair messy, eyes half open, and you're thinking, ugh, another day, go stand in front of that mirror. Look yourself in the eye, lift that hand, and give yourself a high five. Don't overthink it. Just do it. You're not being vain, you're building a neural bridge between who you are and who you want to become. Because the truth is, your brain doesn't need a grand speech or a viral quote to change. It just needs consistent, positive cues. And every high five is a message, a reminder that you're still in the game, still showing up, still trying. And that deserves celebration. So go ahead, give that reflection some love. It's science-approved, self-esteem boosting, and totally free. Who knew one little slap of the palm could rewire your brain to believe in you again? Let's be real for a second. Mornings can be brutal. The alarm clock goes off, you drag yourself out of bed like a zombie auditioning for a horror movie, and before you've even had your coffee, you're standing in front of the mirror picking yourself apart. Ugh, my hair looks awful. I look so tired. Why do I always mess things up? Sound familiar? Yeah, you're not alone. Most of us start our day with a self-roast session that would make a stand-up comedian proud, except it's not funny, it's destructive. Mel Robbins calls this out for what it really is: self-neglect. It's that quiet, sneaky form of self-sabotage that eats away at your confidence little by little, day after day, until one day you wake up and realize you've become your own worst critic instead of your biggest supporter. Think about how weird this is. You'd never walk up to your best friend and say, "Wow, you look terrible today," or "You're such a disappointment." You'd be kicked out of the friend group immediately. Yet, somehow, we do it to ourselves every morning like it's part of our routine. That's not self-awareness. That's emotional vandalism. Mel Robbins points out that every time you criticize yourself in the mirror, you're not just being mean, you're literally training your brain to associate your reflection with negativity. You're wiring your neural pathways to think, "When I see myself, I feel bad." And over time, that becomes automatic. You don't even realize you're doing it anymore. It's like brushing your teeth with self-hate instead of toothpaste. The problem is that self-neglect doesn't show up overnight. It's subtle. It hides behind, "I'm just being realistic," or "I'm motivating myself to do better." But that's a lie. You can't shame yourself into greatness. No one has ever looked in the mirror, insulted themselves, and said, "Wow, I feel so inspired now." What actually happens is the opposite. You chip away at your self-worth bit by bit. Your inner dialogue starts to sound like a grumpy critic instead of a supportive coach. And when that voice becomes loud enough, it bleeds into every area of your life, your relationships, your work, your goals. Because if you don't believe in you, why would anyone else? Here's the science behind it. Your brain doesn't just store memories, it records emotional experiences. When you constantly criticize yourself, your brain starts linking your image, your name, and your identity with negative emotions like disappointment, frustration, or shame. Over time, this emotional loop creates what psychologists call learned self-doubt. It's that little voice that whispers, "Don't even try, you'll just fail." And it's not because you're weak, it's because your brain's been conditioned to see yourself as a problem to fix instead of a person to love. That's how self-neglect turns into self-sabotage. And here's the kicker. Most of us don't even notice we're doing it because we think we're just being honest or realistic. But being realistic doesn't mean being ruthless. Imagine telling a kid, "Hey, you're not good enough, you're lazy, and no one likes you." That would crush them, right? Yet we say that kind of stuff to ourselves in more subtle ways all the time. "I'm not good at this. I can't do that. I always mess things up." That's self-neglect in action, not taking care of your own emotional state, not having your own back. Mel Robbins makes a powerful point. When you wake up and immediately attack yourself, you start your day with emotional warfare. You drain your mental energy before you even leave the house. It's like trying to run a marathon after stabbing your own leg. You can't win that way. Confidence doesn't come from perfection, it comes from self-respect. And self-respect begins with how you treat yourself in those tiny, seemingly meaningless moments, like the one in front of the mirror each morning. So what's the fix? It starts with awareness. Catch yourself in the act. The next time you look in the mirror and start thinking, "Ugh, I hate how I look today," stop. Take a breath. Realize that you're talking to a human being, you. Someone who's trying, someone who's been through stuff, someone who deserves a little grace. Instead of tearing yourself down, try doing what you do for your best friend. Encourage yourself. Say something kind even if it feels awkward. Because yeah, it'll feel weird at first. You're basically retraining your brain, and your brain is like, wait, we're being nice to ourselves now? Is this a prank? But keep doing it. Over time, you'll start to notice a shift. Here's what happens when you break the cycle of self-neglect. You start building trust with yourself again. You begin to show up for you. That's the foundation of confidence. Not arrogance, not ego, genuine, grounded self-belief. You stop outsourcing your self-worth to other people's opinions because you've learned to fill your own cup first. You realize that you don't have to wait for anyone else to validate you. You can do it yourself. Let's get real, life's hard enough. The world throws enough curveballs, critics, and comparisons your way. The last person who should be tearing you down is you. The mirror shouldn't be a battlefield, it should be a safe space. When you stop neglecting yourself, you start noticing small changes. You carry yourself differently. You speak up more. You chase your goals with more conviction because you finally have your own back. You're not fighting an internal war anymore, you're teaming up with yourself. And listen, breaking self-neglect doesn't mean pretending you're perfect. It means acknowledging your flaws without making them your identity. You can say, yeah, I messed up, without saying, I am a mess up. There's a huge difference. One helps you grow, the other traps you. Mel Robbins calls this shift the return to self-acceptance. It's about coming home to yourself, flaws, quirks, mistakes, and all, and realizing you're still worthy of kindness. Let's add a little humor here because, honestly, the whole idea of self-neglect is kind of ironic. We'll spend hundreds of dollars on skincare, gym memberships, and protein shakes, but we can't spend 5 seconds giving ourselves a kind word in the mirror. We'll charge our phones overnight religiously but forget to charge our own self-worth. We treat our gadgets better than our minds. That's how backwards this habit has become. Breaking self-neglect isn't about standing in front of the mirror and yelling affirmations like you're auditioning for a motivational commercial. It's simpler than that. It's about making a choice, every morning, to treat yourself like someone worth rooting for. Because you are. It's about realizing that confidence isn't something you wait to feel, it's something you practice. It's built through the small acts of self-respect you do daily, not through achievements or applause. So tomorrow morning, when you catch yourself rolling your eyes at your reflection, pause. Smile even if it's small. Remind yourself that you're doing your best. You survived every bad day you thought you wouldn't. You've grown through things that once broke you. You deserve the same love you give to everyone else. Because when you stop neglecting yourself, you stop living half alive. You start showing up, fully, unapologetically, and confidently, as the person you were meant to be all along. And that's not cheesy, that's powerful. Let's talk about mornings, those first few minutes after you wake up that somehow decide the vibe of your entire day. You know what I mean? The alarm blares like it's mad at you, you slap snooze 3 times, then you stumble to the mirror only to sigh, ugh, I look exhausted. From there it's all downhill. You spill coffee, traffic's bad, someone emails you, per my last message, and by noon you're already over the day. Sound familiar? Yeah, that's not just bad luck, that's your habit loop in action. It's your brain running the same emotional program every morning like it's on autopilot. And Mel Robbins calls this out perfectly. If you want to change your life, you've got to change your mornings. Specifically, you need to replace judgment with affirmation. That's how you shift the loop, from a cycle of criticism to a cycle of confidence. Here's the deal, your brain loves habits. It's lazy, not in a bad way but in a let's save energy kind of way. So it creates these automatic loops for everything. Brushing your teeth, making coffee, scrolling your phone, even how you feel when you wake up. That means every morning your brain isn't making fresh choices. It's just hitting replay on yesterday's emotional playlist. If yesterday started with self-criticism, today probably will too. I look tired. I'm not doing enough. Why can't I get it together? Congratulations, you've built a habit of negativity. Your brain thinks it's helping you by being realistic. But really, it's just serving you the same stale mental cereal every morning. Now here's where Mel Robbins flips the script. She says, what if you replace that judgment with affirmation? What if, instead of tearing yourself down the second you wake up, you build yourself up? When you do that, you're not just saying nice things, you're literally rewiring your brain. You're breaking the old habit loop and creating a new one. Because here's the science. Every thought you think strengthens a neural pathway. The more you repeat it, the easier it becomes for your brain to go there automatically. So if your morning habit loop starts with, I suck, your brain keeps that highway smooth and well paved. But if you start your mornings with, "I've got this," "I'm proud of myself," or "I'm doing my best," you start paving a new road, one that leads to self-belief instead of self-doubt. And yes, it sounds simple, almost too simple. Like, really? A few nice thoughts in the morning can change my life? But neuroscience says yes. The emotional tone you set early in the day primes your brain's filter, the reticular activating system, a fancy name for your mental spotlight. Basically, whatever emotion you start your day with, your brain looks for more of that. If you start with judgment, your brain notices every mistake, every flaw, every irritation. But if you start with affirmation, it notices opportunity, gratitude, and progress. You literally train your brain to look for good things instead of bad ones. It's like switching your internal Google search from "what's wrong with me" to "what's right with me." Let's be honest though, breaking an old habit loop is not easy. It's like trying to convince a grumpy old man to change his favorite chair. Your brain loves routine even if that routine is making you miserable. So when you start replacing judgment with affirmation, it might feel awkward or fake at first. You might look in the mirror and say, "I love you," and your brain will roll its eyes like, "Sure you do." That's okay. You're not trying to fool yourself. You're training yourself. Think about it like going to the gym. The first time you pick up a dumbbell, you're not suddenly Arnold Schwarzenegger. But with repetition, your muscles grow. Affirmation is the same. It strengthens your mental muscle of self-respect. Here's what this looks like in real life. Instead of waking up and saying, "Ugh, I'm so behind," try saying, "I'm grateful for another day to make progress." Instead of, "I hate how I look," say, "I'm showing up and that's what matters." Instead of, "Today's gonna be hard," say, "I can handle whatever comes my way." You're not ignoring your problems, you're refusing to start your day with defeat. That's the difference between self-deception and self-direction. One avoids reality, the other chooses your mindset within it. And let's add some humor here, because the first few times you do this, you're going to feel like a cheesy motivational speaker in your own bathroom. You'll be standing there giving yourself pep talks like, "You got this, champ," while your reflection looks unconvinced. But give it time. The awkwardness is just your old habit loop protesting. It's your brain saying, "Wait, aren't we supposed to start with self-criticism?" That's what we do. You're disrupting a pattern it's had for years. But the more you affirm instead of attack, the quieter that voice gets. The beauty of this shift is in the ripple effect. When your mornings start positive, that energy carries forward. You approach challenges differently. You're more patient with others, more resilient when things go sideways, and more confident when facing uncertainty. Because you've already affirmed your worth before the world even had a chance to question it. That's what Mel Robbins means by building momentum for the rest of the day. You start your emotional engine with positivity instead of letting it stall with self-doubt. Think about it, mornings are like the first domino. Knock that one in the right direction, and the rest of your day falls more smoothly. But if the first one tips toward negativity, you spend all day trying to stand the rest back up. That's why the habit loop shift matters so much. It's not just about feeling good for 5 minutes. It's about creating a foundation of self-trust that strengthens with every repetition. Here's something most people miss. Affirmation isn't just words, it's intention. When you affirm yourself, you're telling your brain, "We're safe. We're capable. We belong." That calms your nervous system, lowers stress hormones, and opens up creative thinking. Meanwhile, judgment does the opposite. It triggers your stress response, floods your system with cortisol, and narrows your focus to only what's wrong. So every time you replace judgment with affirmation, you're literally shifting your brain chemistry from survival mode to growth mode. You're saying, "Let's stop surviving mornings and start thriving through them." And let's be honest, the world doesn't always hand out encouragement. People are busy, life's messy, and external validation is unpredictable. That's why creating an internal source of positivity is such a game changer. When you can affirm yourself, you stop waiting for someone else to tell you you're doing okay. You know it. You feel it. That's power, quiet, unshakable, self-generated power. So tomorrow morning, when that old judgmental voice creeps in, and it will, pause. Catch it. Replace it. It doesn't have to be a perfect affirmation. Just something simple like, "I'm proud of how far I've come," or "I'm learning and that's enough." It's not about pretending everything's perfect. It's about deciding that you deserve to start the day on your own side. Over time, this shift becomes automatic. The same way you used to default to criticism, you'll start defaulting to encouragement. That's the habit loop shift Mel Robbins talks about. Training your brain to choose compassion over criticism, self-respect over self-doubt. Let's talk about something that sounds simple but is actually deep. The mirror. Yeah, that shiny thing hanging on your wall that you usually only check to see if your hair is cooperating or if your outfit says, confident adult, instead of confused laundry pile. But Mel Robbins takes that mirror and turns it into something way more powerful, an emotional mirror. She talks about how after years of burnout, exhaustion, and self-doubt, she realized that what she was really running from wasn't the world, it was herself. The person staring back at her every morning. And that realization hit her like a truck full of truth. She wasn't just tired, she was disconnected. The mirror, which used to be just a tool for fixing her makeup or brushing her teeth, became a place of emotional reckoning. Now here's the thing about mirrors, they don't lie. You can't Photoshop your reflection in real life. When you stand there face to face with yourself, you're seeing everything, the exhaustion in your eyes, the stress lines, the spark that's maybe dimmed a little. And most of us? We avoid that. We look at ourselves but not into ourselves. We glance, we judge, we move on. Ugh, I look tired. My skin looks bad. God, I need a vacation. And that's it. We treat the mirror like a complaint box instead of a connection point. Mel Robbins realized that this was the exact problem. She'd been criticizing herself for so long that she stopped seeing herself altogether. She tells the story of standing in front of her bathroom mirror one day, totally drained, feeling like life had just chewed her up and spit her out. Her career felt shaky, her motivation was gone, and inside she just felt empty. You know that feeling, when you're functioning but not really living. When you're checking the boxes but your heart's not in it. That's burnout, and it's not just physical, it's emotional disconnection from yourself. And in that moment, Mel realized something brutal but true. She'd been cheering for everyone else but herself. Encouraging others, showing up for work, taking care of her family, but when it came to giving herself a drop of compassion, she was running on fumes. That's when she started doing something that sounded silly at first. She looked herself in the eye and gave herself a high five in the mirror. No words, no pep talk, just a simple high five. And that tiny act cracked something open inside her. Because for the first time in a long time she saw herself, not the woman with messy hair and tired eyes, but the person who was trying, surviving, showing up despite everything. That's the emotional mirror in action. It's not about vanity, it's about visibility, seeing the human being behind all your roles, responsibilities, and regrets. See, here's what happens when you ignore your emotional reflection for too long. You start building layers of self-loathing without even realizing it. Every time you criticize yourself, dismiss your feelings, or downplay your effort, you're basically telling your brain, hey, this person isn't worth much. And your brain listens. It starts filtering your reality through that belief. You begin to feel unworthy of happiness, success, or love. Not because you are, but because you've trained yourself to see only your flaws. That's what Mel Robbins meant when she said self-loathing was blocking her growth and happiness. It's like trying to drive with the parking brake on. You're pressing the gas but you're not going anywhere. The emotional mirror isn't about pretending everything's perfect. It's about facing the truth, the messy, unfiltered, uninstagrammable truth, and still saying, I'm here and I'm enough. That's not easy. When you're burned out, the last thing you want to do is look yourself in the eye. But that's exactly when you need to. Because behind those tired eyes is someone who's been carrying too much for too long and still showing up. Someone who's been waiting for your own approval. Now, let's be honest, talking to your reflection can feel awkward. You might stand there thinking, am I really about to have a conversation with myself like a Disney character? Yeah, it's weird, but it's also real. Because here's the truth, you've been talking to yourself your whole life anyway, in your head, through your thoughts, your self-talk. The mirror just makes it visible. It forces you to confront what's really going on inside. You can't hide behind distractions, tasks, or fake smiles. The mirror holds you accountable in the most intimate way possible. Mel realized that the reason she felt stuck wasn't because she lacked discipline or motivation. It was because she had abandoned herself emotionally. She was trying to fix everything externally, career, goals, routines, but the internal connection was broken. The mirror helped her rebuild that bridge. By looking at herself every morning and offering kindness instead of criticism, she began to reconnect. Slowly, that reflection stopped being a stranger and started being an ally. And let's sprinkle in a little humor here, because, honestly, this kind of self-work can feel like emotional yoga. You're stretching feelings you didn't even know were stiff. One minute you're high-fiving yourself like, yeah, I'm awesome. And the next you're tearing up because, wow, you finally see yourself. It's messy. It's raw. But it's real. And that's where the healing begins. Not in pretending everything's okay, but in having the courage to stand in front of the mirror and say, I've been through a lot, but I'm still here. Here's the science behind it. When you look at your reflection and connect emotionally, your brain's mirror neurons activate, the same ones responsible for empathy. Except this time you're not empathizing with someone else, you're empathizing with you. That creates self-compassion, which lowers stress, boosts mood, and increases resilience. It literally changes how your brain processes your own identity. You stop seeing yourself as the problem and start seeing yourself as the person worth helping. That's a powerful shift. Think about it. Most of us go through life seeking validation from others. We want someone to tell us we're doing great, that we matter. But the emotional mirror teaches you to give yourself that validation first. To be the person who cheers you on before anyone else does. Because if you can look yourself in the eye and say, "I've got your back," you stop needing the world's constant approval. You become emotionally self-sufficient, grounded, confident, whole. And that's the real freedom Mel Robbins found. Once she stopped hating her reflection and started reconnecting with it, everything else started to shift. Her energy came back, her confidence rebuilt, her happiness didn't depend on success anymore. She wasn't chasing validation, she was standing in it. That's what happens when you use the mirror not as a judge but as a bridge back to yourself. So tomorrow morning, before you rush into your day, try it. Take 10 seconds. Look yourself in the eyes. Not at your flaws or your hair or your to-do list. Just you. Maybe you'll smile. Maybe you'll cry. Maybe you'll feel nothing at all at first. That's okay. Keep showing up. Because eventually you'll start to see what Mel saw, not the tired, stressed out version of you, but the resilient, incredible human who's still fighting, still growing, still here. And that reflection? It deserves love, not loathing. It deserves a high five. Let's talk about confidence, that mysterious, shiny thing everyone wants but no one seems to know where to find. Some people act like it's a genetic gift, like blue eyes or curly hair. Oh, she's just naturally confident. Nope. Mel Robbins would tell you that's total nonsense. Confidence isn't some magic personality trait that a few lucky people were born with. It's not hiding under your bed or waiting for the right motivational quote to unlock it. Confidence is a skill, one you build through action, repetition, and self-support. It's like a muscle. You don't find it, you train it. And just like going to the gym, it might hurt a little at first, but if you keep showing up, you'll get stronger. The biggest myth about confidence is that it comes from success. Like, once you achieve enough, then you'll finally feel confident. But here's the funny twist. Success doesn't create confidence, confidence creates success. You don't wait until you feel ready to start. You start, mess up a little, survive it, and that's what builds confidence. Mel Robbins explains that confidence grows from self-trust, the ability to look at yourself and say, "Hey, I may not have it all figured out, but I've got my own back." It's not about never feeling fear. It's about taking action even when you do. Let's get real. Everyone wants to feel confident before doing something scary. I'll speak up in class once I feel confident. I'll start my business once I'm sure I can succeed. I'll talk to that person once I'm not nervous. But confidence doesn't work like that. That's like saying, "I'll start exercising once I'm in shape." You can't think your way into confidence. You have to act your way into it. The more you take small, courageous actions, even if your voice shakes, even if you trip a little, the more you teach your brain, "Oh, we can handle this." And over time, those tiny victories stack up into real confidence. Mel Robbins says confidence comes from one core behavior: keeping promises to yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and you actually do it, you send a message to your brain, "I can rely on me." That's what builds self-trust. But every time you break your own promises, you hit snooze, skip the workout, or procrastinate again, you send the opposite message, "I can't count on myself." That's how self-doubt grows. So confidence isn't about being loud, outgoing, or fearless. It's about being consistent. It's not built through hype, it's built through habit. Here's where the humor kicks in, because let's be honest, most of us expect confidence to just show up one morning like Amazon Prime delivery. Ah, perfect. My self-esteem has arrived. But no, confidence doesn't ship overnight. It's more like planting a seed and watering it every day, even when it looks like nothing's happening. You won't wake up one day suddenly believing in yourself. But if you keep taking small, self-supportive actions, that belief slowly grows until one day you realize, wait a minute, I'm actually kind of proud of myself. And here's the trick. Confidence doesn't come from doing what's comfortable. It comes from doing what's uncomfortable and surviving it. The moments when you feel awkward, nervous, or uncertain. That's the gym for your confidence muscle. Every time you push through, you're adding another rep. You gave that presentation even though your heart was pounding? Rep 1. You said no when you usually say yes? Rep 2. You showed up even when you didn't feel ready? Rep 3. Keep doing that and soon you're walking around like, yeah, I've got this. Not because you never fail, but because you've proven to yourself that even when you fail, you recover. Let's talk about the science for a second. Confidence isn't just emotional, it's neurological. When you take action, your brain releases dopamine, that feel-good chemical that says, "Nice job, keep going." The more you act, the more dopamine you get, and the more your brain starts to associate effort with reward. But when you overthink or avoid action, your brain gets no positive feedback. That's why procrastination kills confidence. It teaches your brain that inaction equals safety but also emptiness. Taking action, even small steps, tells your brain, we're moving, we're growing, we're doing something, and that creates momentum. Here's a little example. Remember when you learned to ride a bike? Nobody felt confident the first time. You probably fell, scraped your knee, maybe even cried. But you got back on, wobbled a bit, then one day, boom, you were riding without thinking. That's how confidence works. You earn it through experience, not theory. You don't stand next to the bike reading a self-help book about balance. You learn balance by trying. Confidence is learned through doing, not dreaming. And yeah, you're gonna mess up. You'll stumble, get embarrassed, maybe even fail spectacularly. But guess what? Every time you get back up, your confidence doubles. Because now, you don't just know what success feels like, you know what resilience feels like. You've seen yourself handle failure and realize it didn't destroy you. That's powerful. Confident people aren't fearless, they're just familiar with fear. They've learned that it's survivable. Mel Robbins calls this the confidence loop. You take action first, not because you feel ready, but because you want to feel ready later. That action gives you evidence, proof that you're capable. That evidence boosts your belief. And that belief fuels your next action. It's a loop. Action builds belief, belief fuels more action. That's how you create unshakable confidence. Not by waiting, but by doing. Let's put a little humor back in, because the truth is, most of us are still waiting for permission to feel confident. Like we're waiting for some invisible committee to approve our greatness. Excuse me, am I allowed to believe in myself yet? No one's coming to hand you confidence on a silver platter. You have to build it yourself, one awkward, courageous, imperfect step at a time. And the best part? You don't have to feel confident to act confident. Read that again. You don't need the feeling first. The action comes first. The feeling follows. Mel Robbins says, you can't think your way to confidence, but you can act your way there. So start before you're ready. Speak before your voice stops shaking. Show up before you feel perfect. That's how confidence grows, through motion, not meditation. The reason this idea hits so hard is because it puts confidence back in your control. It's not luck, it's not personality, it's not reserved for extroverts. It's practice. Every time you support yourself instead of criticize yourself, every time you keep a promise instead of making an excuse, you're literally sculpting confidence neuron by neuron. And it compounds. The more you do it, the stronger it gets. So if you've ever thought, I wish I were more confident, here's the truth. You don't get confidence. You build it. You build it through courage, through effort, through showing up again and again even when it's hard. And one day you'll look back and realize that the version of you who once doubted everything is now standing tall, calm, and certain. Not because you found confidence somewhere out there, but because you built it right here, inside yourself. And the next time someone says, you're so confident, I wish I had that, you can smile and say, oh, trust me, I didn't find it. I earned it, one uncomfortable moment at a time. Let's get something straight right now. Motivation is one of the biggest myths out there. Yeah, I said it. Everyone's out here waiting for that magical lightning bolt of motivation to strike before they finally get off the couch, go to the gym, start that project, or chase that dream. But here's the truth Mel Robbins throws right in your face. Motivation isn't coming to save you. It's not sitting in traffic, it's not running late, it's not lost in the mail. It's just not coming. And if you keep waiting for it, you're going to be waiting a very long time. Motivation isn't what gets you moving, action is. The motivation you're looking for doesn't appear before you start. It appears after you start. Here's how most of us think motivation works. You wake up one day, the sun's shining, the birds are chirping, and boom, you feel inspired. You spring out of bed, ready to conquer the world. But that's not reality. Reality looks more like this. The alarm goes off, you groan, you hit snooze, you roll over, and your brain's like, 5 more minutes won't hurt. You don't feel motivated, you feel like staying in your warm, cozy blanket cocoon. That's not laziness, that's just how the human brain works. It's wired to avoid discomfort and conserve energy. Motivation isn't built into your DNA like eye color. It's more like a spark that only appears once friction starts. Mel Robbins says it perfectly, motivation is garbage when it comes to real life. Because the truth is, you're never gonna feel like doing the hard stuff. You'll never feel like going to the gym, eating healthy, or starting that business proposal when Netflix and snacks are right there whispering sweet nothings in your ear. Your brain loves comfort, and comfort kills motivation. So if you're waiting to feel motivated before you act, you'll never get anywhere. The key isn't to wait for motivation, it's to start moving without it. Once you act, momentum takes over, and motivation follows like a loyal dog chasing a ball. Think about it. When was the last time you actually felt like going to the gym? Probably never. But when you drag yourself there anyway, even half asleep, and finish your workout, how do you feel afterward? Energized, proud, maybe even a little smug. That's motivation. But it didn't come first, it came after you acted. Motivation is the result, not the reason. It's a byproduct of action, not a prerequisite. You can't wait to feel motivated to move. You have to move to feel motivated. It's like trying to start a car without turning the key. Nothing happens until you take that first action. And here's where the high five habit comes in like a genius psychological hack. Mel Robbins realized that if you want to feel motivated, you need to create the emotional state that fuels it. And that starts with small, self-affirming actions. Every morning when you high five yourself in the mirror, you're sending your brain a message: I support you. I believe in you. We've got this. That tiny gesture might seem silly, you're literally high-fiving your reflection like a motivational goofball, but neurologically it's powerful. It activates the same neural pathways that light up when you high-five someone else in celebration. Your brain can't tell the difference, it just registers positivity and approval. And when you start your day with that kind of energy, you're building momentum before motivation even has a chance to show up. See, motivation is a lot like that unreliable friend who says, I'll be there at 6, and shows up at 9. If at all. You can't count on it. But discipline? That's the dependable friend who shows up rain or shine. The trick is to stop obsessing over feeling ready and start focusing on doing something, anything, to break the inertia. Even the smallest action like brushing your teeth, making your bed, or high-fiving yourself in the mirror, tells your brain, we're moving. Once motion starts, it's easier to keep going. It's physics, baby, Newton's first law of motivation. Let's get funny for a second because honestly we've all been there, sitting on the couch, eating chips, scrolling through our phones, watching motivational videos on YouTube, thinking, wow, this is really inspiring. But here's the punchline. Motivation doesn't count if you don't actually do anything. Watching videos about success isn't success. Reading about productivity isn't productivity. You can't manifest motivation into existence. You have to manufacture it through action. Mel Robbins says that if you don't feel like doing it, that's exactly when you need to do it. Because that's when the muscle of self-control gets stronger. And you don't have to start big. In fact, don't. Start small. Motivation grows from micro-actions, not massive goals. Don't say, I'll write a book today. Say, I'll write 1 paragraph. Don't say, I'll run 5 miles. Say, I'll put on my shoes and step outside. That tiny step is the key. Once you're moving, your brain gets tricked into thinking, hey, we're already doing this. Might as well keep going. And that's when momentum, not motivation, carries you through. Motivation is fickle. Momentum is unstoppable. There's a reason successful people don't rely on motivation, because they know it's unreliable. They rely on systems, habits, and routines. They don't wake up every day excited to grind. They wake up knowing they will, whether they feel like it or not. Mel Robbins calls this the activation energy principle. It takes just 5 seconds to decide to act before your brain talks you out of it. That's why she created the 5-second rule: count backward from 5, then move. That small countdown interrupts hesitation and pushes you into action before your brain throws excuses at you. And once you start, motivation catches up. Let's be real, if motivation actually worked the way people think it does, we'd all be millionaires with 6-packs by now. But life doesn't reward intentions, it rewards actions. And here's the ironic twist. When you stop waiting for motivation and just start doing, you become the kind of person who feels motivated all the time. What? Because now your brain associates action with progress, and progress feels good. You've flipped the script. You've turned motivation from a requirement into a reward. So the next time your brain says, I'll do it when I feel like it, you tell it, nope, we're doing it now. And then do something small, anything. Clean your desk. Send the email. Walk for 5 minutes. Give yourself that high five in the mirror. You're not doing it because you feel motivated. You're doing it to create motivation. The more you act, the more inspired you'll feel. It's like starting a fire. You don't wait for warmth to make a spark. You make a spark to create warmth. And yeah, it's not always glamorous. Some days your motivation looks like you crawling through your to-do list 1 checkbox at a time, powered by caffeine and stubbornness. But that's still movement. And guess what? That's where real confidence grows, not from waiting for inspiration, but from proving to yourself that you can act even when you don't want to. That's power. That's self-trust. That's where you go from being a dreamer to a doer. So if motivation's a no-show, don't panic. You don't need it. You've got something better: momentum, action, and the ability to high-five yourself through the tough moments. Because when you realize motivation is a myth, you stop waiting for permission and start creating your own fire. And trust me, once you do, you'll never sit around waiting for motivation again.